Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner, and on today's show, we are going to talk about ethical hunting with DNR officer Jeff Goss. And you know, one of the things, Mike, that I think that is very important for people to know is it's not just hunting deer, it's hunting all wildlife out there. You need to do the right thing.
You need to do the right thing, and you need to respect others. And I think ethics is a huge concept in sports today. And we've seen an increase in the volume of traffic of people in the woods, and you got to respect one another, and you got to respect the wildlife.
Also on today's show, we've got Chef Sean McGee from the Soaring Eagle, and he's going to be providing us with a recipe: country fried venison loin with sausage gravy and succotash.
Oh, suffering succotash, yeah. Tim, sounds good to me.
Big Buck's like, succotash, man, I can't wait. Anyway, it is delicious, and we have all of our recipes online, so you can check those out and cook up some great venison when you get back from the woods. Also on today's show, we got Josh Miller. He's got a big buck. Green score about 175 in that range. One of the top bucks in the contest. And then we also have Carson Meade and his buddies, Chris and Caleb Harmon, and they're going to sit on the back of the truck. They're talking about hunting.
Well, nothing better. Like I said, it's great storytelling, great time of the year. It's Christmas in the woods.
We also have a lot of big bucks we're going to show you this week, so stay with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.
Q1 Buck Poll, Michigan's biggest and best buck poll contest. Brought to you by these sponsors who support Michigan's great outdoors.
Here's some guys that have done some ethical hunting, and we've got big bucks on the Q1 Buck Poll.
Here we go, Tim. Let's start out with Link LaFountain shooting a 9-pointer. His score was 56 3/4 from Reed City. Then we had Roger Williamson with 11-pointer. His score was 52, comes from Concord, Michigan. And Kyle Whipple with a 9-pointer. The score 45 3/4 coming from Chelsea, Michigan.
We're going to talk to Jeff Goss. He's a conservation officer with the DNR, and he's going to talk about ethical hunting. And, you know, Mike, there are so many big racks that they confiscate because people do not do it the right way. And if you're out there and you see somebody not doing it the right way, make sure you call the RAP hotline for the DNR. That's the Report All Poaching hotline.
You know, to me, it's kind of a tragic thing. I mean, it's just so easy. You've got all this kind of time to hunt, but boy, I'll tell you what, you see a big rack and some people go crazy and they turn to the wrong side of the law.
Well, when you take a look at a rack like this, a buck of a lifetime, okay? But what you don't want to see is a rack like this with a tag on it that says it was taken illegally. I've got Conservation Officer Jeff Goss with us here today on our DNR educational segment. And Jeff, you know, it's really a shame when you guys have to take a rack back like that because, you know, a lot of people out there wait a lifetime for a deer.
That's correct. And one of the things we find is the big antlers seem to kind of sway people's opinion whether or not they'll want to take a chance at maybe breaking a law or two to get that animal. And it's one of my favorite topics when I do hunter safety classes. I talk to kids about ethical hunting and why it's important to be ethical hunters.
And when you talk about ethical hunting, give me the you know, the description, the information you're talking about.
Well, I explain it to the kids like this. Most people don't understand that general population, we have about 10% hunters, 80% what we call non-hunters, and then 10% anti-hunters. And I try to explain to the kids it's very important that we send a good image as hunters to the whole population. That way in the future when it comes to votes, for example, on whether we can hunt doves in Michigan or not, we'll have the support of at least the non-hunting community. And so I talk to them about doing things the right way, making sure that they're not only legal, but not, for example, leaving carcasses in the ditch on the side of the road. So somebody has to look at things like that.
Another key, I think, for hunters out there is really, you know, knowing their capabilities. I mean, some people, they'll see, you know, like the tip of the rack and it's coming through the weeds or around a tree, and I'm just going to shoot because I know it's a big deer.
Right.
But really, you need to know what you're doing out there when it comes to that.
Right. And that's where I talk to, especially the young hunters, and tell them, you know, we as hunters, we need to police ourselves. And if you see something like that and you recognize that as being unethical behavior, make sure that you don't do the same thing. We talk about low percentage shots, for example, making sure that deer is broadside. You know, if you've never practiced a running shot, never take a running shot on an animal. Know your weapon, know your capabilities. Are you shooting a compound bow or are you shooting a shotgun? How far can that weapon not only shoot, but how far can it make a clean, ethical kill on an animal? So there's a lot to talk about, but the main thing is, generally speaking, if you have to think twice about whether to take that shot, it's an unethical shot. You shouldn't have to think twice about it.
And the other thing, being you know, stewards of our land out here in the state of Michigan, that is, you've got the Report All Poaching hotline. If you encounter somebody that has done something or is doing something illegal, don't take the law into your own hands, right? That's
correct. In fact, a lot of times on the back of our hunting and fishing licenses, all of them have our 800 RAP hotline number right on here. So if you're legally hunting and you have a license with you and you have a cell phone and you witness a violation, you can stay right in your tree stand, give us a call, and literally walk us right into the complaint. A lot of times guys will go out and run somebody off their property, and then we have a vague vehicle description and we never make a case on it. All three of these are separate cases in which I got RAP complaints on, and all three of these people were prosecuted to the fullest. And it takes help from the public in order to make this happen. We also offer what's called RAP rewards for someone who gives us information leading to the arrest, a successful arrest in a case. We can apply for RAP rewards in which they'll get money back from the DNR for turning those people in.
All right. Be an ethical hunter this year. We want to see these big racks on the Q1 buck pole. Hey, Jeff, thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
Conservation Officer Jeff Goss out of the Calhoun County area. I'm Tim Hart, and that is your Michigan Department of Natural Resources educational update on the Q1 buck pole. Stay with us. We got more coming up. Time now to talk about giving yourself the best chance when you're out in the woods. We only have so much time to be out there hunting. Well, you want to make sure that your scent is controlled. Jim Lombardi with us here from Buck Fever Synthetics.
Nice
and Jim, one of the things we want to talk about today, Vanishing Hunter. And there's a lot of different products out in the market, but one of the things about something like this is spray it, clothes, body, face, mouth, everything, because a deer, they can smell a lot of different scents out there.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not taking care of 100% of it, then why just take care of 5% of it? I'm not going to just spray my boots. I want to take care of my breath. Your breath is 70% of your odor. It's, first of all, body temperature, right? And second of all, it's moist. So when you're breathing that air, there's actually moisture going in the air. You see it in the morning, right, when you're hunting? Well, that moisture carries. This product actually prevents the bacteria that's in your mouth, number one. But the biggest thing is it actually takes you and turns you to a prey animal. Sounds crazy. Why does it do that? Do you eat meat?
Yes, I do.
You eat deer meat.
Oh, yeah.
I love deer meat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I love it all. When you eat meat, amino acids come through your skin, okay? And that is what tells any prey animal or any animal at all that you're a predator, okay? By neutralizing the lactic acid that's in your skin, you just turned into another deer.
Well, Jim, like we've talked about, you know, you're really trying to give yourself the best chance when you're out in the woods, and scent control of your body, of your clothes, of your equipment is one of the best ways, isn't it?
It should be your priority. It really should. I mean, if you're a smoker and you don't care and you just play the wind, then do that. But if you want a deer to come from any direction, then you need to start with scent control.
All right. Jim Lombardi from Buck Fever Synthetics. I'm Tim Hart. You're watching the Q1 Buck Pole. Well, before we go cooking at the Soaring Eagle with Chef Sean McGee, we've got some more bucks, and we've got some women hunters in the promotion.
We got Michelle Smith coming in with a 10-pointer. Her score was 42, and she comes from Jerome. Then we had Sarah Clark, another female hunter, with an 11-pointer. She scored 49 points, and she comes from Jackson, Michigan. And finally, Brian Griffin with an 8-pointer. The score 44 3/4, also coming from Jackson.
We'll have more bucks to show you coming up here on the show, but you can always go to q1buckpull.com and see the latest deer entered into the contest. Well, now that you've got your deer, it's time to make something other than just venison burger. And on today's show, we've got Chef Sean McGee from the Soaring Eagle Casino. He's going to be making up some country fried venison loin with sausage gravy and succotash.
Sounds awesome.
Well, we're cooking at the Soaring Eagle. I've got Sean McGee with us. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, and our chef today is going to make a country fried venison loin with sausage gravy and succotash. And we've got all the ingredients out here. Sean, where are we going to start? Let's talk about the ingredients.
We're going to start out with the sausage gravy today. We got some sliced onions, some sliced sausage, ground sausage, some seasoned flour, some milk, salt and pepper, some Bud Light, and some Tabasco.
Well, that's quite a mixture there to make a gravy like that, isn't it?
Sure is.
All right, so we'll make the gravy first, and then we will work with the venison.
We're gonna roll right into the succotash at that point. We're gonna saute the vegetables up and finish that off with a little bit of heavy cream.
All right, and then looks like we've got a loin here.
And we're gonna go right into the country fried venison loin. We're gonna batter that, and then we're gonna put that in a iron skillet and shallow fry that. Okay, we're gonna start out the sausage gravy with a little bit of whole butter. Just gonna let that melt down a little bit. We're gonna add our onions. We're gonna saute those down until they get a little tender.
Now, does that just feel with the spoon, or is it a timing thing?
Just a little bit clear, maybe like a little translucent is what you want to get them to. And then you can start adding some other ingredients. This will take about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You're gonna saute that down, and then we're gonna add some sausage. And then we'll begin the gravy. This is a pre-cooked ground sausage that we done earlier this afternoon. We're just gonna saute that up just a little bit. Now we're gonna add the sliced sausage.
And again, why do we use both sausages like this?
We use both sausages. One, the ground sausage is a good flavoring. You're gonna get much more flavor into the cream, into the gravy, and then the sliced sausage is gonna be more for presentation purposes. Now we're gonna add some your favorite Budweiser beer or Bud Light. We're gonna add that to that, and then we're gonna let that cook down about halfway.
Now, will you add the whole bottle or just a little bit?
Just a little bit, just for some flavor. Now, if you're making a big batch of this, you might want to add the whole bottle. And another thing is you can save a little for later to add at the end if you wanted a little bit more ale flavor. Now that the beer is cooked down, we're going to go ahead and add some whole milk to this pan.
And again, is there any kind of measurement? You're just putting some in? How much?
For a creamy sausage gravy, you're going to want to add quite a bit of milk, and then you're going to thicken at the end with some flour. If you want it to be a little bit less fattening, if you will, you're going to add just half the amount of milk. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to allow this milk to reduce for about 2 minutes. When we're done with that, we're going to add the flour to thicken this up to the thickness that you enjoy yourself. Okay, now that this milk has reduced for a few minutes, we're going to add some seasoned flour to the gravy, and we're going to thicken it up.
And again, this is all preference, right?
This is all preference. You can make this thin or thick, depending on how you like it. I prefer it to be a little thick to sit up on top of the venison loin when we plate it. So at this point, you want to reduce your heat and allow that to simmer so the flour can cook out of the gravy. You're going to season this lightly with some salt and pepper, a splash of Tabasco. This consistency here is a traditional gravy style, nice, thick, creamy. It's going to coat the venison loin just perfect. Okay, now we're going to begin our vegetable succotash. We're going to add our bacon fat. Now we're going to add the chopped onion. We're going to begin the saute process for about 40 seconds before we add any of the other vegetables. Okay, now we're ready to add the rest of our vegetables. We're going to add some lima beans, some fresh corn, some chopped bacon, give that a couple toss.
Now, how long will you cook this up?
I'll let this go for another 2 to 3 minutes just to make sure everything's nice and tender. Now we're going to begin the process of frying the venison loin in a cast iron skillet with a little bit of oil. We're going to take a piece of venison and bread that lightly and knock off the excess flour and go right into an egg wash. Right into some more flour.
Why do you flour it twice like that?
This will give it that really nice country fried crispy texture. And we're just going to drop that into the oil, and we're going to repeat that step. And as this is frying, we don't need to take very much time to do this. This is a very thin slice, so it's only going to take about 30 seconds on each side.
Hey, a delicious recipe here. Chef Sean McGee, thanks for being with us, buddy.
Thank you very much.
All right, country fried venison loin with sausage gravy and succotash. You can find it online on the Q1 Buckpole website, and we'll take you from start to finish. So again, as I said, go do some hunting, come back and make your family a meal. I'm Tim Hart. You're watching the Q1 Buckpole. Well, here on the Q1 Buckpole, our main objective is to show you deer from around the state. And we've got a couple of great stories, one from up in the Romulus area and another one down in the Quincy area. If you've got hunts that you would like to send us and display on the show, we would love to see your video this year. But right now, Big Buck,
we have bucks.
Yes, we do.
Let's start out with Robert McPhail shooting a 12-pointer. The score was 48, coming from Schwartz Creek. Matthew Bombacht with a 6-pointer. His score was 44.38 and comes from Portage, Michigan. And finally, Matthew Rabb with an 8-pointer. The score 44 1/4, coming from Kalamazoo.
One of the big bucks on the Q1 Buckpole is from Josh Miller. I had a chance to catch up with him at Romulus Auto Parts.
Hi, my name is Josh Miller. I'm from Macomb, Michigan. And season opened up on Saturday. I don't know if you remember, but pretty much miserable weather all day. 8:40, I turned back to my left, and here he was walking right towards me. Luckily, I didn't really see how many points there was. I just seen how long the tines were and the mass on them. So as soon as I seen him, I knew he was a shooter. Go ahead, pull my bow up, sat on my lap, had the top cam across my face, bow limb across my face, kind of break up some facial features. And so he was walking up, and as I'm watching him, became obvious what he was doing. And he didn't want anything to do with the bean field. He was following my foot tracks, my scent walking into the tree stand. But luckily I had a trick up my sleeve, and something my dad told me when I was a little kid was to always walk past your tree stand and loop back around, so when the deer smells your scent, he's gonna walk right past you. So I knew everything was gonna be good. And he started walking up, got behind the tree, pulled my bow back. As soon as I pulled my bow back, he stopped. Figured I was busted at that point. Stood there for probably about a minute. I almost let my bow up because my shoulder was seizing up in pain. And he stepped out 10 yards from me, broadside. All I had was 20-yard pin, put the 20-yard pin on him, and went ahead, let it fly, hit him in the spine, dropped him, and just for good measure, I put another arrow in him.
I love hearing the deer stories, and I will tell you this. When we were at the Auto Value store there in Romulus, people were walking in, what a big deer. That is really cool. And then, I got a call from our friends, Carson Mead, Jim Harmon called me and said, hey, my two sons and Carson just shot a deer, and we just found it.
I'll tell you, you talk about friends. The Harmon twins doubled up, found a good friend that would shoot a deer for them.
My name is Carson Mead. I'm from Quincy, Michigan. I've been hunting since I was 9 years old, and this is my biggest buck. My dad started me on hunting. He took me up in the UP and got me started up there. And I was hunting last night over at my buddy's property in Hillsdale there, and sitting in a stand along a cornfield, and I stood up to stretch, and I looked behind me, and here he comes through the tall grass. So I got up and got ready, and I grunted at him. I stopped him, and then he came right on a line right to me. He came in about 20 yards. I had my diamond black ice with my Muzzy broadheads and put a nice shot right through the shoulder on him. He ran probably 200 yards. We found him the next day, but we got him.
We always like to hear the stories, or we always like to see the video footage that you have. So we invite you to send us video footage from your hunt this year, and then we can show it on the TV show. And you can just contact us through the website at q1buckpole.com. Now, a couple other things to take note of. One, make sure you get registered for the Saskatchewan Deer Hunt with lastminutehuntingandfishing.com. Dunham's North American Outfitters is providing a fabulous hunt next year. And you know, Mike, if you've ever been to Canada, wow, they got some great deer.
Yeah, you better, unbelievable deer, and you got to prepare for it too, because you don't know whether the weather's going to be warm or you need to bring your long underwear.
Another thing going on, if you've got trail cam pictures, Buck Fever is having a contest here with the Q1 Buck Poll, and all you have to do is send us your trail cam pictures, and then we'll have some voting coming up in January and February before the March 3rd Soaring Eagle final party where we give away the ATV. And we will have a vote. Somebody will win all kinds of great prizes from Buck Fever. And I tell you right now, scents, attractants, and cover-up scents, there's nothing better on the market today.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've got it all, Tim, all the way up to the ATV.
That's exactly right. Don't forget about donating your deer. Find a food processor that works with a local food pantry and donate your deer to the hungry. For Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the Q1 Buck Poll. Remember, whenever you're out in the woods, stay safe.
For the latest on Michigan hunting, pick up the current edition of Woods and Water News, Michigan's premier outdoor publication. Available on newsstands or by subscription. Woods and Water News, proud sponsor of the Q1 Buck Poll.
Yep, Sean McGee is a chef at the Soaring Eagle.
Fried venison loin and sausage gravy and succotash. What's succotash?
I don't know. It was delicious, though. I didn't even know, and I don't even.
You know what it is?
It's like a conglomerate of like corn and blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Suffering succotash.
So you know, Big Buck Hoffner is going to be saying that all day long at school. He's going to be walking around, and his secretary's going to say, "What are you saying?" Suffering succotash. Well, why are you saying that? I saw it on the Big Buck Poll, and here's what I'm doing.
I wanted to know what it meant. Anytime I heard him say it, I thought, what is that? What does it mean?
It's food.
And it doesn't mean food.
It is food. Succotash is food.
So I just learned that today. I didn't know that. Okay, suffering succotash.
You want me to let you say it? Hey, Tim, we got some cooking fried this, sausage gravy and succotash. We're going to eat this.
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, I put on 5 pounds. I'm feeling good.
Give Mama blazing, man. Blazing with those guns. I'm coming off. We're going to get some succotash. We need it, man.
Out of control. He's out of control. That's what I want to say.
Well, then, say it, Tim.
Say it, Tim.
Here's my apple, Timmy.
Say it, Tim. Say it, Tim.